5-second board goes up, 15 minutes ahead of us for the TEGIWA Type R Trophy. The red lights go out now, and it's a good start from the second row of the grid there. But it looks like it's going to be Ursula Jordan with her nose in front as they head down to the first corner. Is it going to be her, or is it going to be the driver that's from the second row? It is, in fact, one or two of them going wide through the gravel as well at Clairvaux corner for the first time. A few cars making a little bit of contact there. I think they're probably mostly going to make their way safely through for the first time. And they are heading now down towards Tower Corner for the first time. It's the 66th car of Sportman, that driver that you tipped that's out in front.
So Joe Jessup second already from 10th on the grid, so an excellent first couple of corners there from Joe Jessup. Ursula Jordan now under threat from 21, which is Miles Nathaniel James, one of the newcomers. They're two abreast at least here, heading up towards the S's for third place. Ursula Jordan still there in P3. Then Nathaniel James is up next, I think. Was that Trafford King possibly in fifth? But it's Ross Borman leading, but with Joe Jessup now ahead of him. So yeah. It's taken half a lap.
Yeah, at Sunny Corners, that's a mighty effort from Joe Jessup to get through that field. 9 cars he has overtaken. Some of them made better starts than others. So that's an impressive effort. Where's Daniel Chapman in all of this? He hasn't made the same level of progress, has he? Is he in 6th place there, I think, Daniel Chapman, something like that, as they head through the complex for the first time. So he started in 8th, and he was the man that was quickest in terms of lap times in race 1. It's side by side for 3rd position coming up to the line. That's Ursula Jordan about to lose out to the 21 car of Miles Nathaniel James, but it is at the end of lap 1 Joe Jessup that leads from in 2nd place Ross Borman. In 3rd place, Miles Nathaniel James. 4th, Ursula Jordan. 5th, Trafford King. And yes, Daniel Chapman is 6th. The pole position driver, Samuel Dennis, is back to 7th.
And Ursula Jordan did lose out, didn't she, as they turned into the corner. So Miles Nathaniel James, the ex-Formula Ford racer from London, up onto a podium position. And I think she's going to have to lose another one because that Mitchell... Trafford King, isn't it? That
and Daniel Chapman as well, that's gone past her around the outside. Now Chapman looking at the inside of Trafford King as well for 4th place. This Chapman was mighty quick in race 1. Didn't make a great start, did he, to this 2nd race? Certainly not as Joe Jessup did. Behind Jeff Humphreys and Matt Digby were going side by side. It was like a throwback to about 10 years ago. Yeah. But Matt Digby didn't make a very good start at all, did he? Because he dropped outside the top 10. The podium finisher from earlier. Big dive up the inside here from Commander Murphy up the inside of the pole man. Samuel Dennis, and he goes through. So that is for P7. And Matt Wilkins follows him through. But we saw a car off there, Ian. We did indeed, but we'll stick with the leaders for the moment. Joe just looked like he locked up a little bit on the way into the complex there, and certainly the 3rd place man, Miles Nathaniel James, was all over the grass as they came into the complex. There's Chapman, he does finally get 4th place away. Look how the left rear wheel goes light there as they go around the hairpin. It's just completely airborne, not circulating. So we are watching now as they go past the end of the pit lane down towards Clairvaux in the first corner, and Joe Jessup really is continuing this race as he set off in the first. He built up a 5-second lead in race 1. He's already 2 seconds plus clear here ahead of Ross Borman.
He's obviously very good on lap 1. We thought he might be the favourite, didn't we, being the top driver returning from last season. It's certainly proving to be that at Croft at least. Field come through. Digby's got a bit of damage to the back of his car. He's back to 9th. He also got past Sam Dennis. Matt Wilkins just ahead of them. And there is Dennis, who keeps Jeff Humphreys at bay. The 2009 Stock Hatch champion, who's still there in 11th place where he started. So he hasn't made any more progress. Remember, he started from the back of race 1. And through the S's, they turn again for the 3rd time in this 15-minute race. There's Humphreys still unable to get past Sam Dennis.
Out of the race has gone number 18. That's Matthew Duffel, the driver from Leicestershire. So he has parked on the infield, on the between just after the chicane. Basically, he has pulled off onto the very wet grass there. So he will be going no further.
Battle for 2nd is pretty tasty now because Ross Borman under pressure from Miles Nathaniel James. He's under even more pressure from Dan Chapman, and then Trafford King also in this group as they go up across the line. Second, third, fourth and fifth, headed by the ex-Clio racer Ross Borman, then newcomer Miles Nathaniel James, and Dan Chapman, who's been racing this car for a little while, and then another newcomer, Trafford King, at the back of this in his first ever racing weekend. The driver from York sits there in P5 as they work their way through and out of the chicane, which was under yellow flags, now into a green zone, and it's actually Miles Nathaniel James, the short-term Formula Ford racer, just behind Ross Borman as they turn their way through Tower Bend, but Borman is hanging on here in second.
Yeah, certainly is. Jessup 2.2 seconds up the road, but Borman doing well here to keep these cars behind him. There's 4 of them in that group. Then it's Conor Murphy about 3 seconds behind. He's in 6th place. Then Ursula Jordan. And here they are side by side. We're going to get the change for second there. Up on the inside has gone number 21, Miles Nathaniel James. Then he's gone ahead of Ross Borman, who might lose another place here on the second element of Sully. Daniel Chapman trying to get his car alongside now, but I don't think he's going to quite make it work as they go 3 wide into the complex. Just looking out of our window now, and Chapman does go through into 3rd position there. So Chapman up to 3rd, and it's Borman now. Actually, is he going to get down to 5th here? King around the outside of the hairpin. It's not going to work. So Borman down to 4th for the moment, but he's had a rough few corners.
Yeah, he was right in the middle of that freeway action as the DH Racing team urge on their drivers as they go through at the end of 4 laps with a lead of 3 seconds for Joe Jessup. But now Chapman up to 3rd. Can he catch Nathaniel James, who passed Borman a couple of corners earlier? Change there for 8th place. Matt Digby makes his way up ahead of Ursula Jordan. Already Conor Murphy and Matt Wilkins also passed her on that previous lap. And here comes King, trying to do what he couldn't quite manage a couple of corners ago. He gets down the inside of Ross Borman and goes through. Novice cross on the back of his car and is ahead. He's got in front of Borman. So Trafford King having a good debut here, and he's only his 2nd ever car race. He had his first one this morning, and he's there then in 4th position. He finished P7 earlier. So he started 4th, he's in 4th now, but he's had quite a few positional changes since the red lights went out to this point in the race.
7.25 minutes left to go. We've had a spinner there. Was that the 30 car? Was that Craig Atkinson possibly? That's had a moment there. Anyway, we'll pick up on that in a moment. Here we're watching back a bit further. There's Conor Murphy now then with Matt Wilkins behind him. 67 and 86 respectively. So Wilkins going well again here, as he did in race 1, sort of making forward progress, chasing after that car that was the best prepared car of last year, getting the official verdict at the 750 Most Club Awards night. And we're watching now the 21 car, so Miles Nathaniel James with Daniel Chapman behind him. So Chapman in car 104. Few seasons of racing in the Type R Trophy under his belt. 3rd place he was in the earlier race, but he set the fastest time there. Can he find a way past Miles Nathaniel James?
He's done it again. He's done the best lap, Dan Chapman, at 1:36.03.
It's only a few hundredths, isn't it, outside what he did in the first race, I think.
Yeah, and a fair chunk quicker than Jessup and definitely the car ahead of him. So how long is it going to take Chapman to get 2nd? They're 3 seconds behind the leader. So Jessup probably just pacing it, looking after his tyres. You've got to make your tyres last a few races this season, a limited amount. So there's P2. Nathaniel James a bit wider than Chapman, but gets the car turned into Sunny, still ahead, which is the important thing. He's had limited races. As we mentioned earlier, did a few races into the Irish Formula Ford series. Behind Matt Digby was gaining positions, I think. He's worked his way ahead of Matt Wilkins. Yes, he has. Oh no, that wasn't me. That was Conor Murphy. So no, they're still in the same order. Anyway, here's the battle for 2nd and 3rd positions. Daniel Chapman not yet ahead of MNJ.
Yeah, as Ross Borman and Conor Murphy going side by side up to the line as well. We've got 5 minutes of the race scheduled left to go. Still the same two here, Nathaniel James and Chapman going at it over second and third, of about 1.6 seconds clear of Trafford King in fourth place, who's looking relatively secure there because there's a bit of a gap back then to that next group, which Ross Borman is still at the head of. You can just see that coming into shot now. Here he is, Ross Borman, number 66. He's got Conor Murphy, number 67, trying to pull out and get alongside him on the run into Tower Corner. Under braking they go, and they all get turned in. Matt Wilkins is with them in the background. You can see Matt Digby, number 97, Jeff Humphries, number 5, and they're both 3.5 seconds clear of Sam Dennis now. That's the battle for 5th, heading its way into the Jim Clark S's Ross Borman, still at the front of it at the moment.
To Bar Croft, and to the inside looks Conor Murphy, the driver from Dublin. Can't quite get through, so still ahead. Ross Borman, but Wilkins just behind. And just ahead of them, Daniel Chapman trying again to get second place. He can't make it, so I think a win here is out of likelihood, but a second place will be a couple of extra points, and Daniel Chapman's almost alongside as they go through the final corner. As we watch the battle just behind of Ross Borman still ahead. Chapman couldn't get alongside. Can Wilkins or Murphy make a position? They cannot, and we should get a further 3 laps in here. There's driving standard flags going out, so track limits are being watched closely today here at Croft.
Worth saying that Matt Digby is now with Matt Wilkins as well, as is Jeff Humphries as well on that lap. Yeah, Digby was nearly 2 seconds quicker than Wilkins and took Jeff Humphries with him as well. So it's now really a 5-car battle for 5th position, isn't it? Pretty much. It's not quite there yet, but I think it's going to get there before too much longer. Heading down into Tower Corner now. Borman with just a bit of smoke on as he locks up into Tower Corner. There's Digby, 97. Oh, look, the bumper's hanging off. Maybe there's been a little bit of contact there en route. Jeff Humphries is the man behind him, not to say that it was anything to do with him.
They've been pretty close to one another since we saw them side by side early on in the race.
Well, that's James Mansell, who's not had the happiest day in the number 69 car. Had to pull out of race 1 as well.
Can Ross Borman hang on to a top 5? I'm sure if he can, he'll be pretty pleased with that. So they head up towards the complex where 2nd, 3rd and 4th are together now. So Trafford King has caught Miles Nathaniel James and Daniel Chapman as we watch them here into the final corner. Is that a bump into the rear bumper? I'm sure, pretty close stuff, but Daniel Chapman's run wide, so is he going to lose 3rd position here instead of gaining 1?
Yeah,
Trafford King is up alongside, but Chapman's on the right line with 2 laps to go as they go up towards T1. So inside for Chapman, outside for King. Chapman's later on the brake, so he's in fact going to hang on to 3rd position as he wallops the curb as they go through the right-hander.
It's side by side for 5th behind them as well. There's yellow flags there. I think that's because that's where James Mansell's car is off, so they all have to go single file through there, or should do. Into the pits has come 96 I should say. That's Tim Netclin from Kettering. But that battle for 2nd, 3rd and 4th. It goes on, but Master Nathaniel James now has a 5-second penalty for exceeding track limits. So that's going to presumably drop him back to 4th position, because Trafford King and Daniel Chapman should go ahead. There's the number 2 car heading into the assembly area. That's Tim Adams out of the race.
Yeah, he's not had a good day, has he? In his Type R Trophy debut. There's the battle for 5th. Still Ross Borman at the head of it. Murphy, Wilkins, Digby, Humphries, all involved in this. And they turn their way out of Sunny and up towards the complex where the leader Joe Jessup is. And so still 2nd on the road, Miles Nathaniel James, but with that penalty applied, Trafford King then is going to try and be the one to take that position away from Daniel Chapman, because well, Chapman's stuck here behind MNJ. He's got a chance at gaining a position on the podium here.
That's lap board, he's out. So Joe Jessup already on to his final lap and is now leading by 5.5 seconds over the this battle for second place. Martin Nathaniel James still there in P2 on the road, but he now has this 5-second penalty hanging over his head. And then so that should promote Daniel Chapman and Trafford King, excuse me, as things stand.
Tim Adams had actually got up into the top 15,
okay.
So he had been going okay until he had to pull off.
Meanwhile, it looks like we might get a change for 5th, just looking out of our commentary box window, because we've now got, there we go, alongside goes Connor Murphy, but he's on the outside line for Tower Corner. That's alongside Ross Borman. He tucks back in behind. Can he get it the cut back on the exit of the corner, though? They're going to be alongside again. We'll next pick them up at the Jim Clark S's. No, it is still Borman ahead.
Just ahead of them, Daniel Chapman was under increasing pressure for what is going to become second place from Trafford King. So into Sonny's Connor Murphy going to challenge there. No, he can't get through. Jeff Humphries is all up the curb, perhaps into the back of Matt Digby as well, because Digby was sideways. But Joe Jessop's had a flawless day here at Croft Circuit. He dominated race 1. He started 10th and still dominated race 2 and might win by a bigger margin than he won by earlier.
Yeah. It was 5+ seconds. It's going to be 5+ seconds again. Joe Jessop coming up to the line to take second victory of the day then. It's going to be Martin Nathaniel James second on the road, Daniel Chapman third on the road, and then Trafford King, but that will swap around. So it will be Chapman and King ahead of Nathaniel James, who's got that 5-second penalty. And then it's going to be, yes, Ross Borman that clings on to 5th position in number 66 from Connor Murphy in 6th position. And then Matt Wilkins 7th, Matt Digby 8th, and Jeff Humphries 9th. Only 1.5 seconds covering 5th back to 9th there. And then Samuel Dennis, I think, is going to round out the top 10. It's going to be a brace of 10th place finishes for him during the course of the day. But a very solid start to the season for Joe Jessop. I guess an encouraging start to his career in this for Martin Nathaniel James, with a good pace there, albeit with that 5-second penalty, and Daniel Chapman getting a couple of podiums, looking like he's the most likely challenger for Joe Jessop when this championship continues for its next meeting, which will be at Brands Hatch in May, Josh.
Yeah, his trouble was the starts, wasn't it? That's where Daniel Chapman lost out, certainly in race 1, and Joe Jessop was supreme this time off the line through the first couple of corners, and that's what made the difference. Because at least on lap times, Chapman was the quicker. But we'll see how the season unfolds. Let's take a look at the results then of the second round of the 2023 TEGIWA Type R Trophy. Yep,
so Joe Jessop, the winner in car 28, completing 10 laps, 5.14 seconds ahead of Martin Nathaniel James on the road, but he drops back in fact to 4th position behind 104 Daniel Chapman and 42 Trafford King, with that 5-second penalty. 21 Martin Nathaniel James is 4th. In 5th place it's the 66th car of Ross Borman ahead of 67 Connor Murphy, 7th is 86 Matt Wilkins, 8th is 97 Matt Digby, then Jeff Humphries was 9th in number 5, and Samuel Dennis completed the top 10 ahead of Ursula Jordan, Alan Parsonage, Joe McMullen and Jake Johnson. Matthew Morgan was 15th ahead of Martin Bugg, Craig Atkinson, Jonathan O'Neill, Joe Dargano, again only back in 19th ahead of Oliver Musgrave. Travis Patterson, reward for his travails to get the car back out again with 24th place in car number 13. And then I think there's a few that didn't make it to the end, including Tim Adams, Tim Necklin, James Mansell and Matthew Duffel. So as I say, the TEGIWA Type R Trophy resumes at Brands Hatch in May, so we will look forward to that then. There is a bit of clearing up work to be done before we have the cars released for the final race of the day. We'll get them out just as soon as we can, and that's going to be for the historic 750 Formula Championship. But very shortly we'll be heading down to the pit lane to hear from our successful drivers in the TEGIWA Type R Trophy on what is now turning out to be an absolutely glorious afternoon at Croft. And let's hope that we have this same weather when we're back here tomorrow for qualifying from 12 o'clock and racing from just after 12:30 for an 8-race programme. And let's now head down to the pit lane. Chris Stevens is ready and waiting for us there to speak with our winners.
Well, it's back-to-back victories for Joe Jessup in the TEGIWA Type R Trophy. I mean, Joe, that first lap, that was something else. 9 cars in half a lap.
Yeah, no, I knew I needed to get a good start. I didn't know how the grid was going to sort of form up into that first corner. Took a bit of a risk going down the middle, but it just seemed to pay off. And then, yeah, I sort of managed to catch a couple of guys through the back straight, and yeah, I sort of found myself in first position by the end of lap 1. So back to this morning's session, you know, try and get a gap. Try and manage the gap, keep the car in one piece, and yeah, bring it home for another win. It's fantastic.
I mean, this form is pretty ominous. Are you going to be doing this throughout the whole year?
I'd like to be, yeah. I'd like to be. It's one of my favourite tracks. Got my first win here, so yeah, so it's a bit special coming back here. So we'll see how the rest of the season goes.
All right, well, for the rest of the field, it's a pretty ominous start to the season. Joe Jessup, 2 wins today. Absolutely fantastic job. Congratulations. We'll let you go and celebrate while we go and chat to Daniel Chapman, who is around somewhere. Daniel? Daniel? Where are you at? There you are. Hello. So, 2 races, 2 podiums. Yeah. Pretty good start.
It's the first, so I'm happy with that. Yeah, never happened before, so I'll take that.
It looked like you had some close fights out there.
Yeah, it was a battle all the way around, to be fair, coming through. Yeah, it was just a battle to a flag all the way.
How did you find the reverse grids? Is it harder trying to come up through the order like that?
Yeah, but it makes it a good race. No one can just run away with a championship. So I'm a massive fan of a reserve grid.
Great. Well, we look forward to seeing you out in more of them later in the year. And lastly, where? Trafford King. Hello. Congratulations on your 3rd place finish. I mean, it's a pretty decent start to your career.
Yeah, it's all right. It's gone all right today. I was quite surprised, to be fair. But yeah, we're thereabouts, aren't we?
Obviously, we didn't get to catch up with you after race 1, but how is this first weekend going for you? I mean, I'm sure everything's coming at you very thick and fast.
It's a massive learning curve. You know, just seeing how everybody drives. It was quick. Yeah, it's mental, but mint.
And how does it feel in so early stages in your racing career to be battling it with these guys?
Yeah, it's a good start. I saw these 2 drive off at first, and then I was like, just see Dan, and I was like, yeah, he's there. So yeah, it's nice to be able to be up there.
Great stuff. Well, we look forward to seeing you progress further up throughout the season. Congratulations. Right, Ian, Joss, let's go back up to you, because I think we've just got time for one more race today, and it is the Race Parts Historic 750 Formula Series.